was a comment on the idea of the flat earth, trying to sort of call out an inconsistency with believing that the world is round. And this is the question here. I've just put it into the comments, and there it is on the screen. The Bible is clear that the earth cannot be moved, yet you defend heliocentrism. That says we are moving at tremendous speeds. Do you really trust the Bible or mainstream heliocentrism? So first of all, what is heliocentrism? And secondly, do we support the Bible or do we trust mainstream heliocentrism, or can we support both? What are we dealing with here? Basically, you have these two predominant viewpoints regarding the Earth's position in the universe. One is known as geocentrism, the other one is heliocentrism. Helio from the sun at the center, Earth goes around the sun. Geocentrism, Earth at the center, everything else goes around the Earth. And in the past, it had got to the point with the geocentrism, which was certainly the predominant model before Nicholas Copernicus, where you ended up having the Earth in the middle. The argument was the sun went round the Earth, and then they began to notice some interesting anomalies with things like the way that the planets behaved with each other and the way that certain satellites and asteroids behaved with each other. So they produced an extraordinarily complex view of how this all began to fit together, until Nicholas Copernicus said, well, if we stick the sun in the center and everything going around the sun, it makes a lot more sense, particularly in light of some of the thoughts that were starting to come around gravity and the way that that works and so on and so forth. So how about commenting on the idea of, does the Bible really teach that the Earth cannot be moved, hence geocentrism, or can heliocentrism fit into it as well?
I'll throw in one comment before the others take over. We can be grateful to a priest who way back came up with a very simple concept of what truth always is. And we use it in science as a principle. And basically, it's called Occam's razor, right? Now, Occam was a priest. And after reading his Bible, even though he knew nothing of the furthest heavens or stars, didn't have a fancy telescope or anything, he said, truth is always the simplest explanation. Right now, in reality, that principle will guide your research if you let it. So that when even Nicholas Copernicus saw all the trouble we were getting ourselves in with Aristotelian this and all the old Ptolemaic astronomy, you had planets doing this and then jumping back and then all sorts of weirder. You can see that in the sky. If you have the Earth as the center, then every now and then you get one of the stars that loops the loop and does that, or loops the loop and then does it back the other way, in order to try and make sense of it if you put the Earth at the center. Now, as Occam said, truth is always the simplest explanation. So when you actually say, let's put the sun at the center, now look what happens. Wow, all of a sudden, the maths is so simple. Now, I asked a guy who designed the guidance system for many of the space shuttles, do they both work? He said, you can invent a complex mathematics that will make the system work. But he said the mathematics for putting the sun at the center is so simple by comparison. Occam's razor again. It works, and it works better.
And what's interesting in both of those, whether it's geocentrism or heliocentrism, the Earth is round. Geocentrism wasn't based upon a flat Earth, which is what this was pointing at. So I think what's interesting to me is that the question embeds a falsehood right at the beginning. And if you start with the wrong presupposition, then you're going to get the wrong answer. And it says that the Bible is clear that the earth cannot be moved. And then it says, yet you defend this movement. Does the Bible say that the earth doesn't move? That goes back to oftentimes this First Chronicles 16:30. Tremble before him, all the earth. Indeed, the world is firmly established. It will not be moved. But you use two different words there in the Hebrew for the earth. The first one is the planet Earth, where it says, tremble before him, all the planet Earth. And the second one is the inhabited world is firmly established and cannot be moved. God's in control. And so, it's you got to look at the context and what's really being said there. So